friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Alexis, and today we're going to be doing a super duper spoilery Iron Flame reading vlog. I'm going to put that right there. I'm going to warn you out of the gate. This video has spoilers. If you haven't read the book, you don't want to be spoiled, this is your sign to just go ahead and click off. You do not want to be here. This is not a safe space for you. However, if you've read the book, you're okay with spoilers, whatever, then we're good to go. That is exciting. I'm happy you're here. So like I said, in today's video, I'm talking and reading all about Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros, obviously the very, very hyped sequel to Fourth Wing. I started this book pretty much on release night. It's a week later now because I definitely did not forget to film an intro, and this vlog is just going to cover pretty much my entire first week of reading this book. So, if it sounds good to you, it sounds good to me. Thank you for clicking on my video. And with that being said, let's get on to the vlog. If you've ever been wondering what I'm doing on a Friday night, I just want you to know that this is it. Drink 1, drink 2, snack, book. This is the vibe, this is the plan. This is what we're doing. First and foremost, there she is. Okay, I'm 100 pages in. Did not mean to get this far before I started vlogging, but I ended up reading while I was on campus today, and 100 pages in so quickly, dove straight in, addicted, obsessed. We're here. We're starting, and it feels unreal because now, after all this wait, I don't even know how long I'm gonna have to wait for the next one. So as much as I want to savor this, I also want to binge this entire book so quickly. My first thoughts, feelings, and opinions of the first 6 of this book is that I'm enjoying it. I want more Xaden. I'm sure I will get more Xaden. I'm looking forward to more Xaden. Dane can just leave, for real. I mean, none of these are new opinions, but every time Dane reaches out to touch Violet, I just want to scream because I'm just stop it. Go away. Stop doing that. Leave. I will say, I read the scene where the random first year killed someone thinking it was Violet on a bus. And I was shocked, flabbergasted on this bus, trying to regain my composure as if I wasn't reading the wildest scene, the most random action out of nowhere. I was not expecting that scene to just pop up, and I was just one thing I definitely can say about this so far is that I'm entertained, I'm intrigued, and I'm not bored, and that's great because I'm not a main fantasy girl. If you were on my channel ever, you'd probably know this, that I am much more a romance girl, and I've kind of been in my fantasy era recently, but that doesn't mean that I'm built for fantasy. So I get really nervous when it comes to fantasy books. I'm very intimidated by them. But thus far, I'm entertained, and I'm looking forward to cozying up and reading more tonight. Violet's I figured I'll just ask you that though, to her dragon, in case you're holding back secret dragon knowledge. And this man goes, I am always holding back secret dragon knowledge. That's called gatekeeping. Also, in case you're wondering, my copy actually had a little misprint on the top where the paint isn't there, if you're noticing that while I am reading. It sucks, but honestly, considering the amount of misprints this book has, I'll take it. Could be worse. I don't know if I just don't remember things or if I'm just wrong, because I did read Fourth Wing over the summer and it's been months now, and I don't remember every detail. But could Xaden and Violet talk when they weren't together? Because I'm not minding this whole long distance thing they're doing, but I kind of wish that they had the Aelin Rowan moment where they're bantering in their brains, because I miss that. I don't mind the whole long distance concept. We're just getting such little content of them being together even when they literally are together. I don't even need all the romance or anything. Just the vibes. I don't know if you guys are as up to date about the lore of Fourth Wing and Iron Flame misprints as I am, but something I thought was interesting was apparently people who got the Italian printed edition with the typo at the very top of the page that has legal information on it, which I have, is actually missing a dragon heading on chapter 17. So I thought that was interesting because look, okay, so I have the dragon over chapter 17, and then if I head all the way back to the beginning, you can see that at the top of mine I have the names typo and mine's printed in Italy, but I have the dragon. Honestly, I think it's just a small miracle that I even have a copy of this book that isn't completely busted. It is kind of rough. I posted a TikTok about it, showing off the different defects I found in my edition, but I'm just glad I have something to read, because honestly, this whole situation with them publishing this and having such a fast turnaround and it not being well produced is such a mess, and it's honestly been really interesting to watch it all unfold on TikTok. That being said, welcome to day 2. It's Saturday. I know I look literally the same because I'm wearing this, but it's just really cold in my apartment. So last night I ended off around page 150 and I just started picking up again. It is currently 6 p.m. I was just super tired last night, did not have the motivation to keep reading, so we're gonna try now. However, I forgot the sunset's like super early, so it's getting really dark in my room, and the minute the sun goes down, I just get into like eepy mode, and I am really hoping to push through that because I would love to make some major progress on this book tonight. I don't think it's an unpopular opinion that Varish, however you pronounce this guy's name, is like the worst man alive. But the way that Violet's dragon almost just killed his dragon, the drama? I've been getting so frustrated with this man being like, blah, 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 why is their daughter not here, blah, 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 blah. And then the way that her dragon was like, I will literally kill you. Stop thinking that you as a human is better than dragons. Stop thinking that you can control the dragons. Like, the audacity. No wonder, like, he's a man, of course he thinks that he like can control the dragons. I mean, that only makes sense. At the top of chapter 20, it's a little thing that says recovered correspondence from Lieutenant Zayden Ryerson to Violet Swordgale. And this man writes her in a letter, and I quote, years after my father died, I forgot what it felt like to be loved. Then I entered the quadrant and became the monster I did me to be, and I never regretted it. But then you gave those words to me, and I remembered, and nearly lost you too. I'm striving to be better for you, just like I promised, but I need you to know that monster is still there, screaming to use every ruthless part of me to get your words back. I want to sob my eyes out. I'm on page 208. Okay, I want to know who lied to me on TikTok, because I saw someone say something that was like, we only like Dane better right now because Zayden's not there. We don't like Dane. Are we reading the same book? Violet is injured. Violet has made it so clear she wants nothing to do with him because he betrayed her. She's made it so clear that she does not want him to touch her. And this man's like, not only am I going to keep harassing her, pursuing her, trying to touch her, I'm literally going to ask her to fight me in front of everyone during like a first year fighting thing that they literally don't even have to take part in. And he's just like, I'm gonna do it to like make her confront me and talk to me. Sir? She's injured, like, first of all, in a sling. I hate this man. I really hate this man. And it's making me extra mad personally because first of all, with like the touch thing, obviously she doesn't want to be touched by him because he can like read her mind with his touch and like see her most recent memories or whatever, how it works. But like, personally, I am super sensitive to touch. So if I told someone not to touch me and to leave me alone like that, and they kept pursuing me, I would be so mad. So like, even on just like a basic respect level, this man has no respect for her most basic boundaries, let alone the fact that if he breaches those boundaries, he's going to literally read her mind. Like, Dane is a walking red flag. And I will not mourn him when he eventually dies. I don't think it's going to be in this book since this is like a 5 or 7 book long series. But like, boy can see the door and walk through it. Zayden's trying to protect her, right? And she says, you can't protect me from this any more than you could the threshing. And he goes, you weren't mine at threshing. I am sick for this man. I am sick for him. Violet is stronger than I am because I would be weeping. They're in interrogation, right? The whole squad's in interrogation. Varish, this man, I hate this man, walks in and is like, I know what's gonna crack them. I believe you all know wing leader Ados. I'm so stressed. The amount of stress in my body right now is ridiculous. You'd think that I'm in that room. You would really think it. My heart rate is at 100. I'm sitting here reading and my heart rate is at 100 beats per minute. Because they're bringing freaking Dane into the room. Because, of course, the only thing that can make this work is freaking Varish and bringing Dane, Mr. Memory Reader, into the room. I guess I should say what chapter this is, so, like, if anyone's reading and wants to know what scene I'm talking about. Hold on. Okay, I'm on chapter 23. Chapter 23, page 227, almost chapter 24. I'm stressing. I am panicking. I am concerned. I am worried. This is not Girl Boss. They pushed the healer guy, the mender, to his freaking limit over Jack Barlow? This stupid guy back to life, excuse me? Like, what a good plot twist, I guess, but like, why? Why are we doing that? I don't like that. Welcome to night 3. Okay, I just got to chapter 29, which puts me at page 263. And I don't know who let me be this ambitious, but I was thinking I could finish this tonight, and it's hitting me now. I'm literally not even halfway. Like, this is what I've read, and this is how much I have to read. Currently 8 p.m. I actually don't have anything tomorrow because my class got canceled, so tomorrow's like an extended weekend day, but I'm still not sure I'll be able to stay up and finish this tonight. We'll just see. It did hit me. It's Sunday night that I literally could have been meeting Rebecca Yarros tonight, which kind of made me really sad. So if you don't know, I'm from Ohio, and Rebecca Yarros is actually visiting a bookstore in Ohio, a bookstore that I have like literally been to before. And I tried getting tickets when the event was announced, but they sold out within like seconds. I do kind of wish I had been there because that would have been really fun, and I want to go to more author events, but I guess it just wasn't meant to be. I actually did have a bunch of people trying to like scam me for tickets, which I thought was hilarious. Like, people messaging me on Instagram that were like clearly scammers trying to be like, do you want my tickets? And it was just like really weird. So I was, after getting like these scammers trying to like get my information, which I obviously did not give them for these tickets, I just gave up searching tickets out at all. I was like, you know what? I don't want to risk anything trying to get tickets to go. So instead I'm, sitting here reading her book, knowing that she's at a bookstore that like I literally could drive to. Alright, so I'm still reading, and it's literally after midnight. However, I haven't updated you guys in a while because I'm not feeling great. Just some point during this evening, I've just started feeling really sick, and I am reading, but I've just not been feeling particularly motivated to pick the camera up and talk because I feel not great. But I also want to be vlogging my opinions and my reactions as I'm making progress. So like I said, it's literally after midnight. I got super distracted for a while, so I'm now on page 330, and things are getting spicy. Things are getting intense. Violet was just like kidnapped and tortured for like a week straight, and then now she's free, and now they're like escaping, and I've been really hooked. I've been really enjoying this. I've been having a good reading party tonight. I am most definitely not going to get through all of this tonight, but I'm just gonna get as much done as I possibly can. I'm just excited to keep reading. It's been a hot minute since I've been like this engrossed in a book, let alone a fantasy book, since I tend to be more of a romance girl. So okay, I'm currently on page 360. It's obviously the next day. My 2 notes for tonight's reading so far. I don't want to say this and then have people who are super into fantasy like roast me, because I've seen people on TikTok making fun of people who read a lot of romance, reading romantasy or reading fantasy books with romance in it. And I like to say, I am a somewhat experienced fantasy reader. And regardless, I just get so bored when they're talking about war politics. Like, I've read Throne of Glass, I've read like the whole 10 books, I've read Red Queen, I've read lots of other big fantasy series, and I just like, the minute we get into war politics, I'm just like bored. I just read fantasy for like the vibes and the romance, and like, yeah, I care about the battles and all that stuff, but like when we're just getting into like pages of like war strategy, I'm just like. Also, we finally got the Mira and Brennan scene, and like, don't get me wrong, react how you want, but she did not need to like just break his nose. I guess that's just me. I can't say I've ever been put in the same situation that she was just in, so I really don't have much space to judge her, but she really was like, hey brother, I'm so glad you're alive after 6 years. Let me just literally punch you in the face and break your nose. You guys know that clip from the Kardashians where Kim is like, my diamond earring, it fell in the ocean. And then someone's like, Kim, people are dying.
My diamond earring came off in the ocean and it's gone. Kim, there's people that are dying.
That's literally how I feel about this book. I'm on page 380. It's like, war, murder, politics. And then Violet's like, upset, and it's like, oh no, not Zayden's ex-girlfriend. I don't believe that Miss Rebecca Yarros is going to give us a love triangle moment. I really just cannot think that Zayden would do that. Zayden is way too into her, but girl, this is what we're worried about right now. Like, there are more important things happening than his ex, who he has made it super clear he's not into. Oh, it got worse, to be honest, though. He has a room there? See, I'd be kind of mad about that if my boyfriend had a bedroom at his ex-girlfriend's house. That also just wouldn't happen. In theory, I would be upset. I don't know if I can, like, curse on YouTube. But I'm just gonna say that his ex cat is the B word. That's all. She's awful. I regret everything I said where I was like, blah blah blah. Jealousy. No, she's straight up awful. She's the problem here. Not Zayden, not Violet, her. She's the jealous, petty, annoying ex, and I don't like her. She and Dane can go smooch in the corner and see their way out of this series because I do not miss them at all. New ship just dropped. Kat and Dane, two of the worst characters in the book. What do we think? So I'm almost at page 450, which means we're getting near the end. And honestly, I'm feeling kind of bored. I want to save a lot of my big concluding thoughts for the end. But right now, because I'm bored, it's making me think just a lot about my big picture feelings and opinions on this book. Like, the main conflict right now is honestly just that Kat is being annoying and awful. And that's it. Like, that's like everything that's happening. I'm really hoping this like magically goes into some bigger picture and like all these little scenes make sense, because right now I'm just like, what is the freaking point? Like, why are we reading about them walking up a mountain? Why are we reading about freaking Kat and Violet fighting on a mat? Why are we reading about runes? Like, I've been really enjoying this, don't get me wrong, but I'm just sitting here and I'm like, okay, well, we have 150 pages left, and I cannot tell if this is actually building towards anything, if it's building towards nothing. And this rivalry between Kat and Violet is making me so frustrated, because there must be some lore that we just don't know about at this point. Otherwise, it's like, why is Miss Kat so freaking stuck up on this whole situation and just making it everyone's problem? I swear, Rebecca Yarros better like have something planned and like turn this around and have some big dramatic thing that makes everything make sense, because right now I'm just like, I feel like I'm like skim reading half of it, just trying to get to the part where like things start mattering more. So I just got to chapter 53, which means we're starting the final day of reading off at about page 500. See, I'm a little stressed right now, not because of anything that's actually happening on page, but because everyone has said that the last 100 pages and the ending are like jaw-dropping, like panicking, like freaking screaming, crying, throwing up. So I'm just kind of like, I want to figure out how in these next 100 pages this is going to go from like where we're at to like losing my mind. I'm also kind of scared to get to the end, since I've also heard that apparently she hasn't even started writing the next book yet, and there's absolutely no intended publication date like out and about. So we'll see what happens, I guess. I don't know if this is a mean thing, but sometimes book characters will have like realizations, and I will sit here and I'm like, am I supposed to also be realizing what you're realizing? Because I am not realizing what you're realizing, and I'm confused. It's only been like one page since we last spoke, but they're pretty much talking about if Violet can get second powers or not, because she has two dragons bonded to her. And then they're talking about how like the only time a second power exists is when the dragon bonds a rider and the direct familial line as the previous writer. And she has this moment where she's like, gravity shifts, that can't be right, that would mean, and then it gets cut off, and she's like, now's not the time to let my mind wander. Was I supposed to realize something during that, or did I miss something? Okay, scratch the last question I just asked. Okay, so it's Zeta that has the second power. Oh boy, things are getting spicy in here, because they're like fighting and they're doing this whole like analogy, and she goes, what's your second singlet then? You know, what is it? And he's like, and I quote, the blood drains from his face and as his hands fall away, for the first time, I think I've actually managed to shock Zayden Ryerson. And of course, the discussion gets interrupted, because why would they get to finish that discussion, you know? I feel like the odds I'm going to be recording for like the next hour while I finish this is so high. Okay. All right. They're talking again, I guess. We're not fighting. We're pausing. And he asks, how long does it take to fall out of love with someone? And says, because I think it will take a heartbeat once you know. See, I don't believe that he's going to be a Tamlin. I truly don't believe that Miss Rebecca Yarros is going to do a thing where she finds someone better. They're literally bound for life. I wouldn't be shocked if they had like a little breakup or got back together, or she like hypothetically maybe like was with Dane for a little bit. But like she and Zayden are endgame. And it's really hard for me to imagine her doing something different. I'm also rambling because I'm scared to read what his second power is. So I'm not nearly as freaked out by the second power as I thought it was going to be. I remember so distinctly in the first book when they killed someone for mind reading, like the guy who like got it and was like reading everyone's minds at once was freaking out and they killed him. And I was like, maybe it's that. But also it would make no sense. I don't know if this is like me, but like I don't know why she's so mad about this. It's not great, I guess, but he's not like reading your mind. He's reading intention. Like I feel like that's not necessarily an awful thing. And then the way she just like fell out of love with him so fast is like, I thought it was gonna be a bigger deal. I guess in their kingdom it is like, you know, a massive deal, but is that just me? I really, you know, DM me on Instagram or something. Or comment. I mean, this is a spoilery vlog. If people made it this far and look at the comments, they already know what they're in for. So let me know your thoughts, feelings, opinions on that. I'm very curious what other people are thinking. What about like one of the scariest people in this entire world saying, "Tell me we're all right. Tell me this didn't break us," has me feeling some sort of way. I only have 50 pages left. I'm not actively stressed, but I'm stressed for the future feeling of being stressed because I don't know what's gonna happen, and I'm scared that it's gonna go from like 0 to 100 really quickly. Barlow like got resurrected, pretty much brought back from being crushed by a mountain by Violet just to kill his own dragon. Jack is a venom. I'm sorry, what? I didn't know they could turn into venom. I feel like half the time I don't know if I'm just missing things or if these are like new things. I'm really not built for fantasy. Right, sorry. In the middle of all of this, Violet's mom is like, oh, Salone, like you're a Myri. And she's like, yeah. And Violet's mom just goes, I killed your mother. Time and place. Okay, so Zayden's dying. Salone is going to kill Violet's mother to put the stone walls up. You're everything we dreamed you would be. All three of you, and I'll get to see him soon. Our father. That's her mom's last words. Let's just live well. So the iron flame is all she has left of her mother. I think there's 1 or 2 chapters left, given that one of these chapters is like, oh boy, besties. Oh boy, we have 2 chapters left. I'm on page 616. There are 7 pages left across 2 chapters. Last time we checked in with Mr. Zayden, he is actively probably dying. So, I took a deep breath. I cried more. I forgot I'm not wearing waterproof mascara, and I rubbed my eyes. My hands covered in mascara. My face is obviously covered in mascara. I'm gonna take a minute. I'm gonna get myself cleaned up, since that's not my best look. And I'm probably going to report back tomorrow with my final thoughts, feelings, and opinions. This book was massive, and I feel like I have so many big, overarching, different opinions about different sections, and then obviously the ending. And I want to kind of simmer with my thoughts and come up with what I think my final rating is going to be, but also kind of just figure out exactly how I feel about this book and what I am, going to think about it going forward, since I feel like I have had a lot of ups and downs in this video, and that ending wrecked me. Now that it's been a few days, we're going to jump straight into all of my concluding thoughts on Iron Flame. First of all, in hindsight, this book took me so long to get through. I didn't realize that until I actually saw this TikTok, right, where someone compared this book to Crescent City being like 200 pages longer, but this book actually had 50,000 more words. So I feel a little more validated in just how long this book freaking took me, because it took me forever. At least it felt that way. The first third of the book, I enjoyed a lot. I liked with Violet being at the war college. Long distance relationship thing with Zayden did not bother me that much. Like overall, I like that we kind of had structure, I guess. Like we got to see these things happening, like the rituals and stuff happening, but from the perspective of Violet as a second year. I thought that was fun. And then there was also like, kind of a mystery. We're starting to get more information. I liked that part of the book. Then we move on towards the middle, around the time when Violet is like removed from the war college and they're at this other place now with Zayden. This is where I started to get a little bit more lost. the war politics were just a lot, and I felt like at this point I was trudging through the book. I felt like I was getting kind of bored for like chapters on end, and then something would happen and I'd get really entertained, and then just kind of like there was a rinse and repeat cycle for like 200 pages where I was like, oh my gosh, Violet's being tortured, and then I'm bored again. Like, okay, we like Dane now, I'm bored again. Like, it just repeatedly. And of course we get to the last third or so of the book, and you know, they're firmly at this other place, and at this point it's where Kat started kind of becoming a main character. And at this point, at the very beginning of this like last third, I was feeling the exact same way as the middle third. Like, I was just like, why are we doing this? Like, they were like climbing a mountain on a walk. I don't know why they were doing that. There's just all these different scenes where I was like, I don't necessarily understand. And I felt like I was just kind of skimming through some of the text because it just felt like a lot of it wasn't important to the story. But then a random little tidbit would be. Like the whole thing with, okay, you can have a second power. And her being like, oh my gosh, Jaden has a second power. So it was just like, I liked a lot of parts about it, but I felt like I had to trudge through random information at times just to get there. And this book was just so thick and dense that it was kind of frustrating at times, I think. And then we get towards the end. Honestly, I am not one for battle scenes. I do read them, but I think it can be hard in certain books when you know it's going to be a series to make sure that there are high stakes. So when it comes to battle scenes and stuff, the only characters I really care too much about in this series are Violet and Xaden. I do like the side characters, but I don't feel like I would necessarily shed a tear if some of them like died in the book. So to me, it's like a battle scene feels pretty low stakes because the odds that she's going to kill off Xaden or Violet is pretty low. So I'm not like that stressed, to be honest. So the whole battle scene, and they're like fighting and you know whatever. I thought the ward thing was interesting. I will admit I did kind of like the whole backstory about like there's these journals and they have to translate them and they're trying to figure it out. Oh, and her mom died. Her mom is like a whole other sub point for me though, because I felt like in the first book it was like their mother is like this ruthless being and she's so strong and she has no interest in her children, and then all of a sudden it was like she loves them and she's like telling her kids how much she loves them, and she's like, I did this all for you, I shoved you into the writer's quadrant for you, and I made Xaden watch over you because I love you, and Brennan's alive and I love Brennan and I love my kids. And I was just like, where did this come from? Like, I don't remember in the first book at all there being any indication that she gave any care about these three people. So I was just like, did I miss that? I don't know, but I really don't remember that being part of it. So I was kind of surprised when all of a sudden it felt like she was being so like loving and like self-sacrificing for the cause. It felt out of character for what I remember of this person. And for just like other random anecdotes throughout the whole book, I understand why Jack Barlow was brought back. However, I felt like there were a lot of loose threads in this book that I don't necessarily felt like consistently were woven into the story. So I don't feel like Jack Barlow was really part of the story for most of the book. Like, his return was shocking, sure, and he saved Violet, but then he just kind of disappears until the ending, and I felt like that was really weird. And then obviously there's the whole like watch out for Salone thing, and I felt like that storyline just kept kind of like ducking under things. I felt like we had like the main story, and then we just had these little things that we were supposed to care about that were like under the story, and they'd pop up for a split second and then go back down. So it'd be like everything's fine, or like we're working on stuff's happening, right? And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, friendly reminder that we're supposed to care about Salone. Or friendly reminder we're supposed to, you know, care about her grief for Liam. Friendly reminder we're supposed to just do, like, you know, these are subplot points, and I felt like they were just kind of randomly sprinkled throughout. So many times I was just like, where is Salone right now? Like, where is Jack Barlow right now? Like, if they are back in the story and somewhat prevalent, like, where are they? Finally, of course, we need to talk about the ending. First of all, I will say, after I finished the book, I had to like Google things to understand fully what had happened and to remember some of the world building and like creatures that Rebecca Yarros had like established. So like obviously we figured out that like Xaden has the second power, cool, whatever. I personally was like, whatever about that. However, like I understood that venom equal bad, but I didn't even know what a venom is because I felt like it wasn't really talked about in this book, or if it was, I just couldn't remember because this book was so dense. So I had to like go Google like what is a venom, why did Xaden become a venom, and honestly I still don't even entirely know if I understand why he became one. But Ending did wreck me. It was like honestly nauseating. When I think about that ending, I just genuinely feel nauseous. And I have heard someone I was talking to on Instagram said that Rebecca Yarros has publicly said that this series has a tragic ending. It's just making me question things. It's really making me question my life and my expectations for this series, because I really love book 1 so much, and I did overall enjoy book 2. Not nearly as much as book 1, and I felt like the pacing compared to book 1 was so much slower in a different bad way. I felt like this book just almost became a very typical classic war book. I also will say it's been hard to read this, navigating it, knowing that there's been controversy around the author. I know I haven't discussed that up to this point, but it has been something just on the back of my mind throughout this entire situation, this entire reading journey. Don't know about that. I'm definitely not the most educated to speak on it, but it talks about there's kind of a bit of stuff going on right now with Rebecca Yarros using Gaelic, the Gaelic language, and mispronouncing and misusing the language in the book. And that has been something in the back of my mind, and I haven't wanted to contribute to that. So there's also kind of this feeling of not only my feelings about the books, but then my feelings about how Rebecca Yarros is handling that, along with the horrible misprints and rushed publishing of Iron Flame. Right now I would love to sit here and say that I'm for sure going to read book 3, or that I am anticipating book 3. But, right now it's November of 2023. Given the fact that Rebecca Yarros has allegedly not even started writing book 3, there's a good chance it could be a year, if not more, until the next book. Honestly makes me feel a little worried that there's a good chance that this could be my last time in this universe. I don't know. If you told me the next book was going to be out in a year, I'd probably be like, yeah, for sure. But if I'm going to be waiting longer than that, considering the ending, my unimpressed reactions to this book, the lagging pace, the inconsistent plot lines, of course, the misuse of the Gaelic language, there's just so many things where I'm kind of torn on if I'm going to pick up book 3 when book 3 comes out. That being said, I don't think Iron Flame is a bad book. But something I do believe with books in general is that cliffhangers are great and they can really impact a story. But I don't think that this book would have been nearly as successful without the cliffhanger ending. I don't think that's a good thing. I don't think authors should rely on a dramatic, shocking cliffhanger ending to convince the audience that their book is good. Just because the cliffhanger was good does not necessarily mean the book was good or the book was great. In this case, I do think that the cliffhanger ending was good. It was dramatic. It was stressful. I cried a lot. I was very stressed out about the ending. And I think that the ending was for sure effective. Yeah, totally. However, I just feel like the amount of pages it took to get through this book was a lot. I think things should have been cut. The more I think about my experience reading this book, the more I'm almost getting an ick. Just thinking about how long it took and all these different things. I also feel like I was just so lost in the world building, and I can never tell if that's a me thing, because I do suck with fantasy and world building and having a concept of what's happening, or if that was just genuinely the book. Okay, and now that I have rambled for literally 5, if not 10 minutes about the whole book and the ending and stuff, I'm just gonna say, if you've made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. I know this one was a long one. I know there was a lot of chatting, but I'm glad I filmed it. It was honestly kind of fun to vlog such a big release and get to talk about it with spoilers, since there aren't a lot of people I know who are talking about this book right now with spoilers that I'm friends with. So it was nice. It was getting to chat with my besties about this book. So I'm guessing if you're at the end of the video, you have also read Iron Flame. So if you have, feel free to comment below or DM me on Instagram. Here's my handle, as per usual, to talk about your thoughts, feelings, and opinions on it. I would love to chat with you. And just thank you again for watching this video. I had fun. I hope you had fun. And don't forget to comment, share, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. I post videos every Monday, or at least I try to. So on that note, I will hopefully see you next week. Bye.